Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Maitri and today I'm doing a reading wrap up of all the books that I read in the month of April. But before that, I have some books to show to you that I recently got. Well, they're just two books, but new books are new books, right? So these are the two books that I got. The first is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, and the second is Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I have been so excited to read these books and they have been on my TBR for the longest time. And I'm so glad that I have the paperback because I would absolutely enjoy it more if I'm reading it in the paperback format, and I have waited so long to have these. I loved One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston and I loved Beach Read by Emily Henry, and I was so excited to read more of these authors and I will finally do it. And yeah, these are the books that I got and I'm so happy. But okay, now back to business and let's talk about all the books that I read in the month of April. So the first book that I read was You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle. I literally forgot the name of the author. I just read it this month and that's how it happens with me. I read books and I forget the plots, the author's name, everything. The first book that I read this month was You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle. A beautiful book, lovers to enemies to lovers. I have made a whole review of the book. I'll link it somewhere up here. To give you a brief synopsis, this is basically the story of Nicholas and Naomi. In the first chapter, they are on their second date. They're about to kiss. They have such a good time, such a magical night. And then we move on to the second chapter. They are living together. They have been engaged for a year now and they hate each other. Now we get to see what happened that led them here and how they fall in love with each other all over again. It's so good. It will make you laugh. It's full of serotonin, it's wholesome, the ending was so cute, and if you're looking for a cute, light-hearted, fluffy read, then you should absolutely go for it. The second book that I read in this month was November 9 by Colleen Hoover. Again, I made a whole review of the book because I loved it so much. It was so good. I listened to it in the audiobook format, but oh my god, I read Colleen Hoover after 4 to 5 years and this was the first Colleen Hoover plot twist that I have come across and I was blown away. I have said it before but I will say it all over again. There are romance novels and then there are romance novels with plots like these. So to brief you a little bit about it, it's basically the story of Ben and Fallon. They meet when Fallon is about to move to New York, which is like on the opposite end of the world, and they have this instant attraction, insta love kind of thing, but not so insta love, which is explained in the book. But they are like what to do. She doesn't want to date, she doesn't want to fall in love before the age of 23 and he can't move to New York with her. So they decide that they will meet on November 9, each November 9 for 5 years and see if they can make this relationship work. And that's how it goes. Ben, who is the male lead of the book, he decides that he will fictionalize their story. He will write it into a book with them as the lead characters and it's so good. You have to read it. Colleen Hoover's plot twist. Oh my god, I loved it. Then I needed more of Colleen Hoover's content, so I read Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. Now, the thing about this book is I DNF'd it, that is I did not finish it 2 times before picking it for the 3rd time this month. Now the reason that I did not finish it was because I could not get invested into the story. Because in the beginning, there is not much of the story going on in the first place. And then the characters were not the kind of characters that you get attached to. So I could not get invested in their story and I did not care, and therefore when I came at the 10% mark, I used to leave it every time. But this time I decided that I trust Colleen Hoover, I trust in her writing, it would be something good, and I had heard so many good things about it from friends. So I was like, I would go for it. And I decided that I would listen to it in the audiobook format because that usually helps me if I am not able to get into a book. So I listened to it and it worked, and I love this book. I gave it 4 stars, and this is basically a part of a series. So the first book is Hopeless, and the second book is Losing Hope, which is basically the whole book from the boy's perspective. And I think you should go into this book without knowing much about it. That's the best way to go into Colleen Hoover books anyway. And yeah, it was a good book. Next, I read The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, and this was a DNF. Now, I tried so much to like this book, but I could not end up liking this book. I DNF'd it at 30%, but I tried so much, but this book was not working for me. I think I cannot talk about this book without getting into spoilers. So if you have not read this book, or if you plan to read it in the future, you can skip this part, and I will put a timestamp so you can skip up to here. The spoilers start from here, so make sure that you skip it if you don't want to know. So talking about what didn't work for me, at the 30% mark, they have already kissed. Zara is so turned on by Rowan, and they are so attracted instantly, and they kiss in the 6th or 7th chapter. And I'm like, I do not even care about the characters yet, and they are already kissing. But okay, I was fine with that. But then she is talking to this supposed stranger on the phone, and she is full on hitting on him. And that guy is not even interested in her, and she's just hitting on him. And on the other hand, she's also attracted to Rowan. And I did not get this whole thing. I mean, if you are attracted to him, why are you hitting on him when he is not even interested? I think that was just made to make the plot flow. It didn't work. It wasn't natural in any way. It seemed so forced just for the plot, and I could not get past it. This was too much, and I DNF'd it at that point. If you like it, it's okay. Reading is so subjective. I might like something that you don't, so it's all okay. We are still besties, but this did not work for me. And then I read my first ever manga, and that is Snow White with the Red Hair. I have already talked about it in the anime video, which I posted last, but this is basically the story of Shirayuki, who is a girl with red hair, as the title suggests, and the prince of her kingdom wants to have her in his possession because of her red hair. She doesn't want that, so she cuts her hair and flees the village. And on that journey, she meets this guy named Zen, and that encounter changes both of their lives. It is so wholesome. I read the first volume in a day, and it was amazing. I would recommend it to readers who like slow romance, young adult readers. It's not for everyone, but if that is your thing, the friendship and love kind of thing, then you can try it. After that, I started reading The Lost Hero, which I had started months back, but I didn't continue because I was reading it on the phone, and this is basically the second Percy Jackson series, which is called The Heroes of Olympus. And for some reason, I did not enjoy reading on the phone. It has nothing to do with the story. I just wanted to read it in paperbacks, but I didn't buy it. So I continued reading it, and I read up to 80%, and then I just didn't feel like it. I just wanted to have it in the paperback format. I don't know, sometimes it just happens that there are certain books that you only enjoy when you have it in your hands in the book format, and the ebook was not working for me. So I left it there. I still have to read it, but I have decided that I would buy the series before reading it. So then I started reading The Legacy because I was not home and I wanted to read something, so I started reading The Legacy on my phone. That is basically the spin-off of the Off-Campus series, which is one of my favorite series of all time. But what happened is I read 2 stories from that, which is Logan's story and Dean's story, and I enjoyed it. But then came Tuck's story, and I was like, I've just read his book and I don't want to know what has happened after 3 years, so I left it at that point. So I started reading from there, and I don't know how to talk about it. Tuck's part was so horrible. I don't have any other word. It was so horrible, so badly done. It was like Ellie Kennedy doesn't remember her own characters. The female lead is not like that. I'm not revealing the name for spoilers, but the female lead is just not how she was in the original books. The plot was anything is happening. I literally skipped that part. I could not get through it. I only wanted to read Garrett's part. So I was like, I just skip it and I would read Garrett's part because he's my favorite fictional boyfriend and I wanted more of their story. So that's that. I still haven't read it because that pissed me off so much, I didn't know what to do. Now, after these two experiences with The Lost Hero and The Legacy, I wanted something good. So I went to my go-to author, that is Taylor Jenkins Reid, because she never disappoints. And I was like, anything by her would be better than anything at this point. So I read Evidence of the Affair by her. And oh my god, she never disappoints. I love this book. This is basically a short story, which I didn't know before going into it. But oh my god, the whole book is written in the form of letters. The letters are basically between the wife and the husband of two people who are cheating on their partners. So these two people are cheating on their partners, and those partners write to each other via letters. So the whole book is about those partners. It's so wholesome, unpredictable. Just don't have any information before going into it. Read it for Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing, her plots, the beauty of the book, the beauty of the concept. It's so good. 5 stars instantly. And the last book and the only paperback that I read this month is finally, I am reading Mockingjay, which is the 3rd book in the Hunger Games, which, if you don't know, has become my favorite trilogy of all time. I literally love the first 2 books so much. I binge read both of them, and then because I started reading the off-campus series in between, I dropped it. But oh my god, I have picked it again and I am about this much into it, so almost done with it. Last 100 or so pages, and I'm not ready to say goodbye to these characters. The best book that I'll be reading this month. Oh my god, I love it so much. Suzanne Collins has written 3 classics in a row and I don't know what to do about it. I love it so much. I'm so jealous of anyone who gets to read these books for the first time. They are so good, so good. I have no words. I'm loving it so much, and after recording this video, this is what I'll be doing. I'll be reading this book, maybe finishing this book. I love it so much. How many times have I said this? So that is the last book that I'll be reading this month because I don't read fast. So there are still 2 days left. But I guess I'll start another book, one of the 2 books that I got, and continue it to the next month. But yeah, those were all the books that I read this month. This was not such a bad reading month. I did read a lot. I read almost every day, which I always consider as a win, because even if I cannot read so many books, but at least I'm reading every day. And I'm so excited for the next month because almost everything that I will be reading will be in paperbacks, and I love it when it's like that. So yeah, tell me, what all did you read this month? Did you have a good reading month? What's your favorite book of this month? I would love to know. I will see you again very soon with another video. Until then, take care, stay safe, and lots of love.